Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we grab some source material and really, pull out the key insights for
And
you.
the idea is to get you up to speed quickly. Find those useful nuggets you might otherwise miss.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling something fundamental for anyone landing somewhere new, staying connected. Specifically, how to get your mobile phone sorted out in, well, the incredibly busy city of Hong Kong.
Yeah, connectivity there isn't just a nice to have. It's pretty crucial, isn't it? For everything from getting around on the MTR, hailing rides, maps.
Oh, totally. Checking opening times, contacting people, accessing local services, it's essential.
Mm-hmm.
And our source for this deep dive is perfect for this. It's an article called Hong Kong SIM Card Guide from moveandstay.com.
Move and stay. Yeah, they focus on business travelers, expats in Asia, so they really get the practical stuff someone needs when they arrive.
Right. They understand needing to hit the ground running. So this guide gives us a great structure. We're going to unpack the different SIM options, prepaid versus longer-term plans.
The flexible choice versus maybe something more committed if you're sticking around for a bit.
And we'll definitely look at eSIMs. That's the newer tech option, right? And becoming super popular.
Definitely. We'll cover why that is. And also the really practical bit, where do you actually buy a SIM?
Yeah, can you get it before you go? Do you grab one at the airport?
Yeah.
Wait till you're in the city.
And we absolutely have to talk about the real name registration. That's a big one.
Oh, yeah. Can't miss that. You'll just hit a wall if you do.
And then finally, some practical tips, how to manage your data, make calls without it costing a fortune, maybe some basic troubleshooting.
Okay, so whether you're popping in for a quick business trip or planning a longer stay, our mission here is to boil this guide down, give you the essential info to get connected in Hong Kong without any drama.
Let's get into it.
Right?
So the guide from Move and Stay kicks off with the basic choices. And for a lot of visitors, especially if you're not staying long, prepaid SIMs, they're usually the go-to.
Yeah, think flexibility. The source actually calls them a cracking choice for tourists. You pay up front, top up if you need more.
Exactly. It gives you control over what you spend. So no horrible bill shock after you leave.
Which is always nice.
And there's quite a variety out there. Different data amounts, different lengths of time. They're valid for, a few days, a week, a month.
Okay. Anything to watch out for?
Well, the guide stresses reading the small print.
Right.
Always. That's where you'll find things like hidden fees or, and this is important, data throttling.
Throttling, where they slow your speed down after you use a certain amount.
Precisely. You don't want that hitting you just when you need Google Maps or an Uber, right?
Definitely not.
Some prepaid deals also bundle in local calls or texts, which can be quite handy actually for booking things or contacting local numbers.
Right, but what if you're there for longer? Say a few months, maybe more.
Okay, yeah, if your stay is longer, the guide really points towards looking at a long-term SIM card plan.
This feels like where that move and stay audience focus the expats, the longer-term business folks really comes through.
It does, because these plans often work out cheaper overall for data. You generally get bigger allowances compared to just topping up a prepaid card constantly.
Makes sense.
And a really big benefit they highlight. You get a local Hong Kong phone number.
Okay. And why is that so important?
Well, if you're settling in, even for a few months, you often need a local number for practical things. Opening a bank account, sometimes setting up utilities, local memberships.
Right. Kind of unlocks daily life stuff. So what else should you think about with these longer plans?
Key things the guide mentions are contract length. Are you okay being locked in for a bit? How are the rates for calling internationally if you need that? And maybe check if they offer data rollovers. So if you don't use all your data one month, does it carry over? Or do you just lose it?
Okay. So the takeaway is longer stay, probably worth investigating a long-term plan. Could save you money.
Definitely. It's about matching the plan to how long you'll actually be there and what you'll be doing.
Gotcha. Now, what about the techie option, the eSIM?
Right, the eSIM. The guide calls them pretty nifty. Digital embedded SIMs. No physical card.
Nifty is a good word. The convenience factor sounds huge. No tiny bit of plastic to lose or swap.
Exactly. And what's really appealing, especially thinking about arriving in Hong Kong, is you can often buy and activate an eSIM plan online before you even travel.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you land, turn your phone on, and you're connected immediately.
Pretty much. No hunting for a shop, no queuing up when you're probably tired from the flight.
That sounds like a massive plus, especially for business travelers who need to be online right away. Emails, coordinating pickups.
For sure. So the main benefits are clear. No physical card to worry about. Easy to switch plans if you need to, and you activate it remotely. It's smooth, but
There's always a but.
your phone has to support eSIM technology. Most newer smartphones do, but it's worth checking yours.
Good point. Okay, so you've mulled over the type. Prepaid, long-term, eSIM maybe. Next hurdle. Where do you actually get it?
Right, the logistics. The guide lays out a few scenarios.
And starting with the most convenient, potentially, is sorting out an eSIM before you even leave home.
Yeah, if your phone supports it and you like planning ahead, this is probably the easiest route. Buy online, activate, land connected.
Simple as that. Find a provider online, follow the steps.
Basically, yes. Just
Well,
make sure it's a reputable provider that covers Hong Kong well.
okay. But what if you want a physical card? Or your phone's a bit older?
Then getting one upon arrival is also very doable. Physical SIMs are easy to find.
And we need to hammer this home. You need your ID, right?
Absolutely. The guide is very clear. You must show your passport or a valid travel ID for the registration. It's the law now for all SIMs, even prepaid physical ones bought on arrival.
Don't forget that passport. Are they expensive? Bought like that.
Generally, the tourist-focused prepaid SIMs you buy on arrival are pretty affordable, designed for that immediate need.
And speaking of immediate needs, the airport itself.
Hong Kong International, HKG. Yeah, it's geared up for this. Lots of kiosks, mobile provider booths right there in the arrivals area. You can't really miss them.
Super convenient then, especially if you haven't pre-bought an eSIM or you just want someone to help set it up.
Exactly. You get that face-to-face help. The slight catch, the guide notes, is prices might be a little bit higher at the airport compared to finding a shop in the city.
The price of convenience?
Pretty much. You pay a bit extra for getting sorted instantly. The guide suggests maybe doing a quick online price check before you fly, just to see if the airport deal feels worth it for you.
Smart tip. Okay, so if you skip the airport or need one later, what about getting a SIM in the city?
Loads of options. Maybe the easiest, according to the guide, is just popping into a convenience store.
Like a 7-Eleven or Circle K, they're everywhere in Hong Kong.
Exactly. They stock a range of basic prepaid SIMs. Quick, easy, grab one with your water or snacks. Prices are usually fair for those simple options.
But what if you need more advice? Maybe compare plans, or you're thinking longer term.
Then you're better off heading to one of the actual mobile carrier stores. You know, China Mobile, 3HK, CSL, Birdie, they all have their own shops.
Right. And the staff there can presumably give you more detailed help.
Yeah, they can explain the different plans, data speeds, international call options, help you choose what's best, and crucially, they'll handle that real name registration process right there with you.
Okay, that sounds good for more complex needs. Any other ways?
One last option mentioned is buying online from retailers before you go. But for a physical SIM this time,
How does that work?
you compare deals online, order it, just make sure it's a reputable site, and check the SIM is compatible. An interesting twist is some might even deliver it to your hotel in Hong Kong.
Oh, that's handy.
Could be. You might find online-only deals too. But you need to factor in delivery time, obviously, and still double-check the data, the validity period, all that stuff before you buy.
Okay, so plenty of ways to get hold of one. Now you've got the SIM. What about actually using it? What are the key things to know?
Right, the practicalities. And the guide leads with, again, that real name registration. Can't stress it enough.
Mandatory since March 2022. Physical SIMs, eSIMs, all prepaid ones. You show your passport or ID when you buy or activate.
And if you don't,
Yeah.
or it doesn't get processed properly,
Service might be cut off. That's the warning. It's law, a bit of a pain maybe, but essential. Your connection literally depends on it.
okay, registration done. What about the network itself? Is it any good?
Generally, yes. The guide says Hong Kong has excellent mobile network coverage, fast 4G, widespread 5G, especially in urban areas.
Good news. So the main providers, CSL, China Mobile, 3HK, they offer reliable connections.
Yeah, even in places that can be tricky, like down in the MTR tunnels or deep inside buildings, which is important in a city like Hong Kong.
But there's a however, isn't there?
There is. Coverage might be weaker if you get out into more remote spots, like on the hiking trails.
Ah, okay, so if you're planning a hike.
Don't rely only on your phone's signal for navigation. The guide strongly suggests downloading offline maps beforehand. Good backup.
Good tip. Saves data too. Speaking of which, what about sharing your connection? Tethering.
Yeah, using your phone as a hotspot. The guide calls it really useful. Getting your laptop online, sharing with a friend.
Very handy for working on the go. Or
Right.
just avoiding dodgy public Wi-Fi sometimes.
Definitely. Though the guide does suggest using a VPN if you do use public Wi-Fi, which is sensible.
Do most plans allow tethering?
The source says most SIM plans allow tethering, but it's always smart to just double-check the terms, make sure there are no hidden charges or weird restrictions.
And be mindful of data usage, presumably. Tethering can chew through it.
Oh yeah, especially if you're streaming video or doing big uploads on the connected device. Keep an eye on that data meter.
Right. Which brings us to managing costs. What about making calls, especially back home?
Big warning here from the guide. Don't rely on standard rates for international calls directly from your Hong Kong SIM.
Sounds expensive.
They call it a killer. So the advice is to look specifically for plans that have special international rates or maybe add-ons or bundled minutes for calling abroad.
Or just use data.
Exactly. Apps like WhatsApp, Skype, FaceTime over data are often the best bet, assuming your data plan can handle it. Find a cost-effective way.
And staying on costs. Roaming charges. How to avoid those?
Well, the best way is using your local Hong Kong SIM in Hong Kong. Simple.
Makes sense, but what if you do a quick side trip? Macau, mainland China.
The guide mentions you can look for multi-region SIMs or eSIMs that cover those places too. But, and this is critical, you have to make sure you understand the terms and conditions.
Because roaming charges could kick in unexpectedly if you haven't got the right setup.
Precisely. High charges are a real risk. So a super practical tip they give, just turn off data roaming in your phone's settings until you are absolutely sure you've got the right plan active for wherever you are.
That's a good safety net.
Yeah. And just generally, managing data usage is key. The guide acknowledges data vanishes quickly, maps, social media, photos.
Those amazing skyline photos.
They cost data. So use your phone's tools to track usage. We mentioned offline maps do that. Use Wi-Fi when you can trust it. Turn off background app refresh and auto updates for apps you don't need constantly syncing.
So basically, be a bit mindful, plan ahead slightly, and you can avoid running out of data or getting surprise costs.
Exactly. It lets you relax and enjoy the city more.
Okay, let's zoom in on eSIMs again for a sec, because sometimes the setup isn't just scan and go. There can be little quirks.
Right. It's not always plug and play, is it? The guide mentions APN settings. What's that about?
APN is access point name. It's basically the address your phone needs to connect to the mobile network for data.
Okay.
Now, the guide says it should set up automatically when you activate the eSIM, but they really stress it's always worth checking if you have problems. Incorrect APN settings are a super common reason for data not working.
And where do you check that? Is it buried deep in settings?
It's usually findable. On an iPhone, it's roughly setting cellular data network. Android is more like settings connections, mobile networks, access point names. Might vary slightly by phone.
And if it's wrong or blank?
You'll need the correct details from your eSIM provider to fill them in manually. So, data not working. Check APN first.
Got it. What else is potentially tricky with eSIMs in Hong Kong?
Well, this one sounds a bit weird at first. You might need to turn on data roaming.
Wait, roaming? For using a Hong Kong eSIM in Hong Kong? That doesn't sound right.
I know, it seems counterintuitive. But the source explains that because of how some eSIM providers route their traffic through network partners, your phone might technically see it as roaming even though you're in Hong Kong and shouldn't be charged extra by that specific plan.
Okay. So it's a system thing, not necessarily a cost thing for that HK plan. How do you know if you need to do it?
Simple answer. Check with your provider. Ask them directly. Do I need data roaming enabled for this Hong Kong eSIM to work? They'll give you a clear yes or no.
Okay. And if they say yes,
then you just toggle it on. Setting cellular data roaming on iPhone, similar path on Android.
But huge caution here, right? Only do it if that specific Hong Kong eSIM provider tells you to.
Absolutely critical point. Because if you have another eSIM installed, maybe an international one, and you enable roaming when that plan doesn't cover Hong Kong,
right,
then you could face serious charges.
Right. So only enable it if instructed for the HK eSIM. The guide even mentions someone getting stuck without internet because they hadn't enabled roaming when they needed to for their specific HK eSIM.
Yeah, cautionary tale. Learn from their mistake.
Okay. What about just general eSIM problems? Activation fails, no connection.
The guide runs through basics. Activation issues, make sure you have stable Wi-Fi. Double check any codes, they might be case sensitive.
No data connection, even after checking APM.
Make sure mobile data is actually turned on in your main settings. And try the old faithful. Restart your phone. Often works wonders.
Can't make calls.
Check the eSIM is set as your primary line for calls and settings. And if it's prepaid, maybe you just need to top up your call credit.
And if you're still stuck after all that,
don't hesitate. Contact your eSIM provider's customer support. They can check things on their end and walk you through fixes.
Okay, this really highlights that picking the right plan isn't just about price, is it? It's about making sure it actually fits what you need for your trip.
Totally. And the guide gives pointers on how to choose wisely, starting with thinking realistically about your data needs.
How much do you really use? Are you constantly scrolling Instagram, streaming music, using maps, or just light email and messaging?
Yeah, the advice is check your current usage on your home phone as a baseline. Then maybe add a bit extra for travel. You often use more maps, look things up more. And they say it's usually better to have too much than to run out.
Running out mid-trip would be a pain. Can you add more data easily?
Often, yes. Look for plans that allow easy data top-ups if you do underestimate.
And don't just focus on data, right? Calls and texts still matter sometimes.
Exactly. We need to call restaurants, hotels, maybe text friends who are also in HK. Consider plans with unlimited local calls or bundles with international minutes if that's important for you. Tourist eSIMs often try to balance data, voice, and SMS.
Okay. And the final step in choosing.
Shop around. The guide stresses this. Hong Kong has several providers. Compare what they offer.
Look at the obvious stuff. Data allowance, voice minutes included, SMS limits, and the price, of course, in Hong Kong dollars.
Yep. And also, actively look for those hidden fees or limitations. Read the details. Check online reviews, too. See what other users say about coverage in certain areas or customer service quality.
Good call. Real-world feedback.
And keep an eye out for promotions. Sometimes you can snag a better deal if there's a special offer running when you buy.
Okay, wow. This deep dive into the moveandstay.com guide feels like it's covered pretty much everything you'd need to know about getting connected in Hong Kong.
Yeah, from the different SIM types, prepaid, long-term, eSIM.
To all the places you can actually get one online beforehand, airport arrival, convenience stores, carrier shops in the city.
Plus those crucial practical tips. That mandatory registration, network coverage realities, tethering, calling costs, avoiding roaming traps, managing your data.
It really feels like getting this sorted smoothly just takes away a whole layer of stress when you land somewhere new, frees you up to focus on why you're actually there.
Absolutely. It empowers you to just, navigate and experience a place like Hong Kong without that logistical headache.
So here's a thought to leave you with. We know mobile connectivity is fundamental in a city like Hong Kong for getting around, accessing services, everything. If you do manage to get seamlessly connected right from the start, using tips like these, what unexpected opportunities might that open up? What spontaneous moments or deeper insights into the city's life might you stumble upon simply because you're not worrying about finding Wi-Fi or counting megabytes?
How does having that practical side handled let you engage more fully with the experience itself? Something to think about.
Definitely. We hope this deep dive helps you do just that. Stay connected, explore easily, and really make the most of Hong Kong. Thanks for joining us.